Welcome everyone. Today we'll be learning a very broken combo that is available in Path of Exile 2. Now looking behind me, we're learning from a Chinese content creator who's demonstrating to us with only 3 or 4 pieces of the right gears under 100 Exalt or under 1 Divine, this build can destroy anything in Path of Exile 2. It is currently the most broken meta combination available in the Chinese and also English community. So just to demonstrate to you guys over here, this is gonna be one of the pinnacle bosses that is available in the game. And you saw earlier, he only have 4 pieces of items available and 3 combo pieces. So let's have a look whatever happens, and there we go. that was the boss, guys. And the boss is one-shotter when he blinked onto the boss, and even sideways, not even right onto the boss. And this combination does extremely high damage, and it is possible to achieve this one on any class with any build. So as you guys can see behind me, I have taken down a lot of notes as regards to this combination and also how to make it work. You can see a lot of the crucial items for this combination are around 1 to 10 Exalt, around 80 Exalt or maybe 90 Exalt, and over here around 10 Exalt. So this setup can be made in about 100 Exalt, or maybe after the inflation of this video, it should be under 1 Divine. And a lot of jewels that is available for this build, including the ones that give us additional meta skill energy, can be quite cheap if you're only filtering for those stats. So on the first part of the video, let's learn this new setup, which I have updated the latest builder guide for those pieces of items, and also the combination of the skills, which seems to be very simple. On the second part of the video, I really want to touch up on our previous build and also everything that is related. So what we're looking at over here is there's a lot of additional notes and also tips coming from viewers and also coming from my friends about how to make the build better, how to stop dying, how to have a better stun threshold, and how to adjust for a lot of details that is frequently asked in our videos. How do you get more meta skill energy? How do you get more magic find? How do you do more damage? There's a lot of ways you can be doing this, and I will be touching this up on the second part for those variants for the latest Blink, Force War, and also Explosion build. Now before we jump over to the builder's guide, a big thank you and also shout out to the Chinese content creator Shi Yanran over here for sharing this latest setup. The title says it is under 1 Divine, it kills one-shots any boss, and it works for any class with any build. So how does this work? Let's have a look at the combination. The main combination consists of 3 pieces of gears, so 2 unique items and also 1 rare item. Over here, the Chinese content creator has provided us with a 4-socket version, so you can see that we're not even using 5-socket skills because this is much cheaper. But if you do happen to have a 5-socket over here, you can see that you can go with 5 sockets with cast and dodge. Now compared to the previous setup combination we're learning from the Chinese content creators, you can see that this setup does not require Temporalis, which means it is much cheaper. So in terms of the wand, he's recommending getting additional damage as fire, cold, and also lightning, and that is all the stats you wanted for a budget version. You can see those ones can be selling for about 1 Exalt. 1 Exalt is tons of them for 1 to 2 Exalt. And yes, I'll have the trade filters available for you guys to have a look to be buying up those items. So after getting the extra damage as fire, cold, and also lightning with a wand, you can also get additional extra damage as fire coming from this scepter. This scepter also provides you with 100 spirit, which can allow you to be using your cast and dodge. And finally, of course, the build uses Tremble Toe. Tremble Toe allows you to do overkill damage, which allows you to create an infinite loop that uses the bone cage that destroys force walls, and then the force walls that destroy it loops around with additional bonus overkill damage, and this means tons of more damage. So most combinations are using Tremble Toe, and this is the most broken boots in the game at the moment. Every build that is budgety, that is cheap, want to be using those pair of boots. And yes guys, it is likely in the future patches these boots can be nerfed or adjusted because it is too broken. But at the moment, if you want to have a blast on a budget build, you can be using this combination. Finally, as for the amulet, you can look for any of the missing stats, any of the strength for the boots requirement, any of the dexterity for the cast and dodge requirement, or any of the spirit requirement that is lacking for your build. You can be using the amulet. And that is pretty much it. In terms of the choices of items, you can see the content creator only uses 4 pieces of items, and the amulet is only used so he have enough stats for the other set of items and also skills. And pretty much you'll be walking up to the boss and you'll be blinking onto the boss and also one-shotting the boss. Of course, you have to have the right skill setup and also the right passives as well, which we'll go through over here. And yes, it is incredible amount of damage just using those 3 pieces of items, which is pretty broken. So coming over to the basic skill setup with the 4 sockets, you'll be using 2 cast on dodge, and ideally you want cast on dodge with 20% quality, because this will reduce the reservation of the skills from 100 to 90. So 20% quality on cast on dodge is going to help you with spirit. The first cast on dodge is combined with Force Wall, Icicle, with Spell Cascade and also Fortress. The second cast on dodge is again with 20% quality if you can for the lower spirit cost. And here it is combined with Force Wall, Bone Cage, Magnify Effect and also one more Force Wall. So that is the entire combination of the 2 cast on dodge. Over here you can be having Blink for higher level Blink and also higher quality Blink combined with Ingenuity and also Arcane Tempo. And finally, you can have mobility for a little bit of movement speed penalty, but that is not a must-have. And that is pretty much for the link of the spells. But should you guys already have a 6 link or 5 socket cast on dodge, you can go with a more stronger variant. So here we have the 5 socket variant with Force Wall, Bone Cage, and together with Magnify Effect, Inspiration for lower cost of mana, and also Impetus for more meta skill energy gain. Now, if you already having enough skill energy gain, you can change Impetus with Ambush for even higher damage, which we'll talk about coming from some of our previous builds. Yes, we are using Ambush over here. Once you have enough meta skill energy gain, you can take away Impetus for Ambush for even higher damage with a more critical chance. Now, the other 5 link with cast on dodge is combined with Force Wall, Icicle, Spell Cascade, Fortress, and one more Force Wall for additional looping of bonus damage. Now this seems to be very straightforward, right? And because it is available with only 4 sockets, the budget build is much cheaper. So if we come over to the passives, in order to make the passive friendly for everyone, over here we're not going to perk through all the passives, but rather I'll go through what the Chinese content creator has highlighted with the most important passive points, and I'll show you guys where to find them. So the content creator mentioned in order to make the build to deal the highest damage and also get the most efficiency out of the build, you only need 3 major passive nodes. So if we come over here, it is maybe a little bit easier if I come back to one of the previous builds that uses a similar setup, so it's easier to see where those nodes are. The first passive node that we're looking for is going to be Deadly Force. This one will give you additional critical chance and also even higher damage after dealing critical damage. The second most important node you're looking for is going to be Dynamism. This will allow you to have even higher damage with triggered skills and together with more meta skill with energy gain. Finally, you do want to have this node over here with Force Approach, or First Approach. This is a massive damage boost because you're pretty much sitting on full life and enemies are full life, and also your overkill with your Force Walls, they're considered as full life. So you're getting tons of critical chance, critical damage, and it is amazingly powerful using those setups. Now during this time, depending on your class and also Ascensions, ideally you want to find anything that provides you with more spirit, more meta skill energy, and even higher extra damage whenever you can. So here you can see with Invoker, we're getting extra lightning damage, and there's other classes that can deal even high extra damage. I do want to mention over here, should you guys have a shortage of meta skill energy gain, you can come over to those passives that are over here, and this will provide you with even higher energy gain. One of the reasons the current build you're looking at is not going for those nodes over here is because this Invoker build, because it already has the more energy gain with meta skills, it doesn't require those. So should you guys want to follow a full build using a similar variant, I'll have the Invoker, I'll have the Blood Mage available for you guys, and even the Acolyte of Chiyara available with a full perk of the passives for you to have a look. So in the meantime, for any of the build or any of the class, if you follow those instructions with the passives, you will have a better time. And finally, of course, in terms of the gears, we're looking for jewels that provide us with more meta skill energy. Ideally, you want to get over 80 or even close to 100% meta skill energy, and the higher energy you get from the meta skills over here, this means the less requirement of energy and also passives you have to go over here, which can save you a lot of passives. But that is optional, of course. You can go with those passives and save a bit of currencies while not having to buy the most expensive jewels. So with the jewels, you're looking for meta skill gaining increased energy. This can gain up to 15%, but this can be a little more expensive. But you can see it's about 10 to 20 exalt. But if you just search the basic ones, they're very, very cheap. They're less than 1 exalt. You can buy those and also make it rare, slammer exalt, and this will be actually really good for any of the meta skill build. You can see that the rest of the item choices are also available for you guys in the links below, should you want to pick up those crucial pieces. And yes guys, that summarized this entire combination. And yes, the translation over here, you can see it is available and also usable for any classes and also any build. Again, a big shout out to the Chinese content creator, and I have this demonstrative video available for you guys to have a look. Now, before I finish the video, let's come over to the second part. We have had a look and also learned a number of similar builds in the past. So if you guys have seen the Auto Bomber build with Invoker, we also have another cheaper budget build with Invoker. So over here, I want to take some time to address and also to share you guys some additional information coming from our viewers and also the community. So the first, I guess, thing with the build is we can have a cheaper setup. Yes, our previous setup was about 20 to 25 divine, but after making that video, it seems like the chest piece and also a lot of items become more expensive. So here, let's have a look at how to make those builds even cheaper. So coming over here with DH, oh gosh, I cannot pronounce names. Coming over here from DH and also Peter over here. So what they are recommending is sometimes there's no need to get the most expensive energy shield chest piece, and also there's no need to get the shield. So the alternative is we can be getting a scepter with over 170 spirit instead. So I did have a look at those scepters. It can be less than 1 divine. So you can see this scepter is over 226. So if you guys are short on spirit, what you can do is instead of going for the passives, so let me come over here to show you guys. So the previous build, instead of going for the passives over here, you can unperk those passives, and then what you can do is you can follow the instruction over here. You can get any good chest piece armor, you can take away the shield, but rather while you take away the shield, you can look for a scepter that provides you with the missing spirit you're looking for. This can be a much cheaper alternative compared to the previous setup, because in that setup we recommended using a shield and also using a high energy shield chest piece, which can be costing over 10 to 20 divine after releasing the video. So this is definitely a very good recommendation. Over here, Peter also recommended that the chest piece with the threshold of 1000 and also 20 energy shield is a little too expensive. So the alternative adjustment is that if you still want to use the shield, if you want to follow the setup, you can consider getting a chest piece with over 1300 evasion together with 500 energy shield. So this is only 3 divine. So let me go over here and have a look what that means. So if you come over to this passive, this is giving us bonus spirit for energy shield and also evasion. So you don't have to just stack energy shield. If you get a chest piece with high evasion and also somewhat high energy shield, it can still work to give you the 170 spirit you needed to be running the active gems that is available with Cast of Dodge with Spirit Reservation. But of course, the downside of getting so much evasion instead of energy shield is that you will have less energy shield, which can affect our survivability. But the budget is much cheaper. Now, we often had a question about how come I'm a little short on spirit. So in terms of the spirit, I often mention about this, that you guys should get 20% quality on the Cast on Dodge. This will convert the 100 reservation to 90 reservation. If it's not working, you want to take the gem out of your gem sockets and then put the gem back into the gem sockets, or even restarting the game. So this effect will become inbuilt into the game. Sometimes it's bugged out. So make this 20 quality, take it out of the sockets and put it back in. This should work for 90 spirit reservation. And over here, you could consider corrupting those for 23% quality for even lower spirits by 1 or 2. Now, over here, we also have a few questions about dying because of the build doesn't have the stun threshold, and also dying to frozen, and also dying to stuns. Over here, I do want to recommend and also look into a particular passive that is actually quite powerful for any build that is running energy shield. So this is coming from one of our previous builds that is using the 1 HP with Chaos Invocation. The Enrich Well over here with the skill passive will provide us with tons of more stun threshold based on a maximum energy shield. And this can be very important and also very helpful should you guys have problems with getting stunned while sitting on no life. So this particular set over here, those 3 points will be essential if you're running energy shield build and you find yourself dying because of the stuns. At the same time, my friend Hellious also recommended to be going with double charms. So if we come over to the double charms, the 2 charms we're looking at is going to be the anti-frozen and also anti-stun charms. In order to have both of those charms activated, what we're looking for is we're looking for this particular anointment. You want to be getting to this point of anointing your amulet for this particular point. So this way you can have 2 charms activated to help you compensate for the tons of stuns and also tons of frozen. So this is another alternative if you cannot get those particular passives, and this will help you stop dying. Now we often had questions about, hey man, I want to play this build with a different ascension and so a different class. At the moment, it is the cheapest and also most cost efficient to be playing this build onto the Invoker. So this is why we made the build on the Invoker. It is much cheaper. But it is also doable with any of the classes like Blood Mage, in terms of, Acolyte of Triara. A lot of other classes, even Infernalists, can be playing this build. What you're looking for in Ascension is additional ways of getting bonus spirit, additional meta skill energy, additional critical damage, and also critical rate to spells, more energy shield, extra damage to all of those elements. And this can help you to deal even high damage or having more utility for the build coming from your Ascension. Now over here I do have a small correction. In the previous videos I was trying to say to get Force Wars to level 7, but it is possible to start the Force Wars with level 9 Uncut Gem, and then corrupting the Force Wars to -1 level. Why do you want the lowest level of Force Wars? Is because, as you guys know, we're using items that is try to overkill Force Wars. The lower the life the Force Wars have, the more damage you will deal. And this is actually one of the reasons why the Chinese content creator over here used Icicle. This will actually reduce the support skills with less life. The lower the life the Force Wars is, the more damage you will deal with overkill damage, and this loops into higher damage. So yes, you can start the Force Wars on level 9 and then corrupt that one for even lower level for even less life. Now we often had a question about not getting enough meta skill energy and also not getting enough just energy in general. When you blink once, you're not auto casting all the spells. So here we have some recommendation from Jacqueline over here, and basically to summarize, you want to find more meta skill energy coming from the passives. We have talked about this just now earlier in the first part. So yes, if you're not getting enough meta skill energy, you can be getting those passives as you can see over here. And second to that, you should be getting those jewels that provide you with more meta skill energy. And I have the search tabs available for you guys to have a look. Of course, the rest of the effects might not be the right, but you want to get the meta skill energy enough so you are blinking once and also auto casting all the spells. To follow from that, you can use supporting gems that like Impetus or any of the supporting gems that provide you with more energy retention. So one of the examples that was recommended is to be considering taking out Concentrated Effect and also Inspiration, so you actually have a higher mana cost, by replacing those with Impetus and also Energy Retention. This will give you more meta skill energy. But once you have enough meta skill energy coming from all of those choices, you can then come back with more mana cost reduction and also Concentrated Effect for even higher damage. Now we also had a question about Magic Find. Yes, we do have a build that uses all the setup that is available, that also uses Temporalis with over 600% Magic Find. So should you guys want to invest into the build, and if you happen to have Temporalis, there is a version with even better Magic Find for the current setup. Now if you guys remember on the first part, we talked about dealing high energy and also finding more spirit without using the shield. So what are the alternative items you can use without the shield? Well, coming from the Chinese content creators and coming pretty much from everyone, this particular scepter is giving us tons of bonus extra damage as fire, which is also really good for bonus damage. At the same time, you can dual wield any of the scepters or any of the wand. So this is more of a budget version of this unique item. And you can see here we have extra fire, cold, and sort of lightning damage. Now during this time, I do want to mention that if you guys are looking for a better one, you can go starting with extra damage as fire, cold, and lightning. But as you go for something more of an upgrade, you can also get plus levels to all spell skills. As the rank of spell skills increase, your blink cooldown will reduce, and this allows you to have more blinks with lower cooldowns. But of course that is only a bonus, right? You only reduce by like 0.2 seconds, I believe, for every level of blink. And yes, you do want to get the highest level of blink because of this, and also 20% quality, of course. Now finally, we had some questions about the FPS lags. Unfortunately guys, the build itself will have pretty much infinite loops, and you can see the infinite loops actually last for multiple seconds after you blink once. It is great for residual damage, it is tons of more damage, but the downside is the FPS delays. So in order to fix this, what we recommend is lowering the game graphic settings and also turning off any special effects, turning off the shadows can be a little helpful. And if you're still having trouble with the build because of this, you can consider taking away some of the supporting gems that is causing a lot of loops, a lot of bonus damage. So yes, you will lose damage, but you'll have better FPS if you take away Spell Cascade, if you take away Spell Echo, or if you take away Fortress support. So it is your choice. You can take a mix and so take those away to see if this gives you better FPS. If the FPS is better and you're still doing enough damage, then you can take those away for better FPS. Now hopefully you guys found the latest combo helpful. What I do is I also try to attach the Ascension choices for each of the Ascension classes that is available in the game. So you can see 12 different links that is updated with different Ascension choices. But I won't go over to the exact passives, and I'll let you guys pick the passives. We already highlighted the most important ones. So this way, if you're playing a class, you can use this information to be using the latest combos with the cheapest budget to be doing the highest damage that is available in the game because of those broken boots. And yes guys, if you're wondering, likely those boots will be nerfed in the later patches, but that is likely coming with a server or league reset. So it is likely the developers are not going to nerf anything particular because it is designed in the game, and right now we can enjoy this overkill build with the most budget setup, and that is amazing for damage and also super cheap. Now hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Mattjestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I'll be aiming to post at least one Path of Exile video a day, and this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos. Now before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is going to be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.